Hello again, everyone. I am going to give a general overview of Google Drive. This is our in the cloud tool that we used prior to going remotely, but certainly it's something that we will use and are using more so now that we are working remotely. It allows for file storage and collaboration, and again, it's something that can be accessed from your computer, or you can even access it from your phone. And so I'll try to put a video at the end to kind of show how you can have it available on your phone as well. You can use it for spreadsheeting, so the same thing you would do in an Excel spreadsheet. For the most part, the functionality is almost exactly the same. You can also do this in Google Drive. You could do create forms where you can collect information that is then input into a Google Sheet automatically. You can create the equivalent of Word documents. Again, the functionality isn't exactly one-to-one, but it's very good. And it's a great thing for us to use, and what we would be using a lot of times now that we are having to work remotely. So I just want to talk quickly. I'm going to just give a general overview. I'm not going to go into depth. I'll do some uh, more in-depth videos for some tips and tricks on specific tools within Google Drive. But for now, I'll just talk a little bit about generally what is Google Drive and how you can set some things up. So again, in order to get to Google Drive, go to google.com. You want to make sure that you're logged into your Open account. As you can see here, I am not. So what I'm going to go on and do here is make sure that my Open account is selected, so that's what I'm doing. As I've mentioned in other videos, sometimes there is a problem when you have other accounts logged in, so you may have to actually get rid of those different accounts, like these different personal accounts I have here, for the way that Open sometimes links. If you have an issue, that's what you might have to do. I haven't figured out the exact glitch, but I've found that to be a way around it. So with that being said, you would make sure that you have your Open account, and then you would click on these dots up here, and then you would click on Drive. So when you click on Drive, that is going to then open this drive that's going to have all these different kinds of documents, the spreadsheets, the forms, the different kind of docs or Word doc like materials that are saved, and they're saved usually right here. And depending on how you like to link it or show it, rather, you can show it like a folder form like this, or if you click here, you can kind of show this particular ledger. And these are different folders that have different kinds of documents or spreadsheets or forms within them by category. It's just what I like to do to organize myself. And then this kind of gives you when things are modified. This tells you who it was created by, etc., etc. So just a few things as you're thinking about this. Also, one other thing, sometimes I found that people are saying they're having issues getting to this when they're working through their virtual private network. So if you're doing that from home and you're having trouble, just work through your regular desktop or computer rather than logging in to the VPN. I'm not saying this always happens, but some people have brought that up, but keep that in mind. But just a few things you can do in here. Again, if you want to create a new document, you would go in and click on new. You click on new for anything that you want to create, whether that's to create a document, to create a Google Sheet, or to create slides. You can also create forms and a number of other things. For the most part, we're using these first two for creation. And then anything that you want to create, you would click on that. And once you click on it, you're able to go in and rename the document, and then start typing and doing everything that you need to do. When you want to, the same thing would go for if you're trying to, again, open a Google Sheet, and I'll just show that here and what it looks like. Again, very similar to Excel, and the same thing would go for if you are looking to create Google Slides. I won't do that right now because that's PowerPoint based, but that is an option. The great thing about using Google Drive is that multiple people can be working in the document at the same time. And so you don't have to worry about, oh, what version was saved, et cetera, et cetera. Matter of fact, for any of these, you don't need to save anything because there are different versions that are saved at any given time. And to see the versions, let me make sure I have this to show you where you can kind of look up the versions. Um, there's a way to look up to see your versions that may be available to you. Um, uh, if you're like, oh, I made a change or something that I didn't want to do, and I want to see what was the previous version, there's a way to do that. So if you just wanted to see previous versions, you could also type in here to see how to do that. I might do another video for that, but there's a way to actually look up previous versions um, that you may have. Let's see here. Just want to make sure I do want to show that, because sometimes we've made a change that we don't want to keep, and we want to go back to a version that we had yesterday or whatever. So but anyway, this automatically saves, so you don't have to worry about um, not saving. So if you want to see the version history, actually you are going to click on File, and because there is no version history, you won't see it here, but you would go to version history, and that will tell you all the different times that it was saved, so you can go back and look at the old version. But again, this is not something that you need to save on your own at all. It will do that for you. Also, some things with Google Drive. Again, I'm just giving a general overview here. Is one of us or somebody might create a file and then want to share it with you, and I'll show you in a minute here how to share your own files. But when you want to see if they say, hey, I just shared something with you, you might get an email. But also a good way to see something that was shared with you is that you would go into your Drive and you would click on this Share With Me, and that's where you would see documents that have been shared with you, or folders or files that have been shared with you, and it shows you who it was shared by, the person that shared it with you. And so you can always, if you're looking for a specific person, you could look there to see. If you're thinking about the shared date, you could look to see there, and you can always organize if you want to look at the dates in reverse order, whatever it is. But this is how you would look at Share It With Me. And also, let me go back to show you how you would actually share your own document. When you go in here, you would click on the share button, because originally it's only private to you. And then you would, well, I have to name this, so I'm going to call it test. And so at that point, you want to either put in the names, or, and you want to say what you want them to be able to do. If you just want them to be able to view it, you don't want them to modify it or anything, you would do that. If you want them to comment on it, you would do that. But if you want them to edit, say you're collaborating, then you're going to make sure that's selected, and then you will put the names in. A lot of times it will show you the name, and so you'll be able to add it. Once you add it, say I wanted to add Elena, then I would click send, and it would send her a notice. Another way to share is you can get a shareable link, and that this is the link that you will use. And again, you want to make sure you know, okay, do you want people to view, comment, or edit? Say I want them to edit, then I would click on the link, and I would Control-C to copy it, or I can click on copy link here, and then I would send this to them in the email or whatever it is, to get them to be able to share it. And then it will show here in the top who all is, it would show that it's a shared document. So that's the way you would share the document. One other thing about Google Drive when you're in here, we haven't yet officially set this up, but at some point we will invite everybody to what's called a shared drive. And this is our own drive. It kind of would, I guess you could say, mimic our drive for Alliance. And so it would have our different folders. Nothing's in here right now, but we would invite you to that, and that would be our shared drive. That way it wouldn't be mingling with your own personal Oakton drive, and help to keep things organized. So that might be coming. One other quick thing about Google Drive is that when you just want to go back to the base, you click on Drive, shows you everything. If you want to search the drive, you can do that for any specific document or whatever it is that you're looking for. That's another functionality. The other thing I'll share here is just something extra. If you have your calendar set up, there is a way over here to the right to kind of show your calendar in kind of a window with your Google Drive. Sometimes that makes it easier. For me, I also like to have, if I'm going to have this open, I might have my Google Keep open as well, which I'll do a video on that as well, which is just like a checklist of things to do as it relates to different projects or activities that I have. But you can always pull things up on this side as well, or add some different other add-ons here on the side, so you can have two views. Just some final notes about Google Drive is that You don't want to input sensitive information in here like B numbers or things of that nature, or definitely not social security numbers. Also, in a lot of cases, this drive is only accessible for Okta employees with an Okta credential. So there may be certain tools that you're like, oh, I want this to interact with somebody outside of Okta, that may be difficult for you to do. I will say I did find a workaround, particularly for Google Forms, on how to make sure that a person can complete the form that's outside of Okta, and I'll show that in a Google Form video that I'll do. But that's just something to keep in mind. I will share at the bottom of this video some other Google Drive tutorials that you can watch that are online, as well as kind of a screenshot of the way Google Drive can look on your phone. So keep that in mind, and thank you so much.